Back with another one, back with another one. Welcome to the room. Back with another one. So, as I expected, because like I say, these people on YouTube are very predictable, these thirsty view holes. I knew that the moment Deontay Wilder was officially declared the loser of the fight and Zhang was declared the winner by basically TKO, knockout, whatever you want to call it. And I'm gonna say this again: this is no attack on Zhang. He won fair and square. It is what it is. Now, unless something comes out, he's the rightful winner. Hopefully, nothing comes out. But I don't think so. I believe for the most part, Zhang is straight up and down. Like I said before, I had the pleasure of talking to him and his team. Even though he can't speak English that good, he tries to give you interviews. He has his, interpreter do the interviews on his behalf, and he's a nice guy. So, congratulations to him. He won fair and square, you know, and I'm giving him his flowers. I'm giving him his just due. Now let's see what happens next. Um, the fight couldn't have been any more of a disaster for Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, I don't know if he's officially retired, but you know, Teddy Atlas said it's up to him. But at the end of the day, as content creators and people that follow the sport, especially guys like me who go to these fights and watch these fights um, primarily on a regular basis, whenever I go cover a fight, I can tell when somebody's heart is not into it. Yeah, at the end of the day, it is Deontay Wilder's call, but we have a right to give our opinion. Me, myself, I would call it a career. You know, that's just real talk. I would call it a career. Wilder has nothing to be ashamed of. Once again, he went out, he went out on the shield. Whatever happens after this, Deontay Wilder just needs to wait for the call when he's inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. And if you don't think Deontay Wilder is a Hall of Famer, you're crazy. But I see people attacking Deontay Wilder. Of course, the memes are getting made and all that kind of stuff, and the screensavers and stuff, is getting put on, all these social media sites from, to get views. But I'm not going to do that to Wilder because at the end of the day, he fought his ass off. He tried. He had a great career, for the most part up until this fight. He was a warrior. Some guys just don't have it in them no more. And I think Wilder just may not have it in him no more. His heart is not there anymore. But nevertheless, I want to respond to all the people because I know this particular name triggers people. It triggered people for years. Because keep in mind, when I first, for people that followed me, you know, from the inception of, what I'm saying, my channel, I think I came out in about 2015. I think that's when I first started making videos. But I just wasn't them dudes that was moved by Triple G. I always thought he was overrated as hell, and I still stand by that. And it was proven based off what became of his career. If Deontay Wilder is a hype job, then Triple G is definitely a hype job. One of the most protected and shielded fighters I ever seen, and I thought it was an insult when people were saying Triple G is one of the best middleweights or fighters, period, within the last 25 years, based off what? Let me explain something to you. Triple G wouldn't have been able to whoop no middleweight if he fought against him. A young Roy Jones Jr. would have annihilated Triple G. And it was funny, me and Roy Jones Jr. was talking off camera, and we was talking about that. And I told Roy, I said, Roy, you at 24, 25 would have destroyed Triple G. You would have made him quit on the stand. Yeah, and Roy was like, I know. James Toney would have destroyed Triple G. Bernard Hopkins would have whooped on Triple G. James Toney would have whooped on Triple G. I'm just keeping it. I'm just keeping it a buck. He wouldn't have been able to beat none of those dudes. They would have either outboxed him or they would have knocked him out. Hagler would have knocked Triple G into the middle of next week. He would have beat the brakes off of Triple G. Hearns would have probably knocked him out. So I'm trying to think who Triple G could have beat. I'm just keeping it 100. I think I think Roberto Duran would have gave him fits. But you got people saying that Wilder didn't fight nobody. Well, Triple G definitely didn't fight nobody. Triple G didn't fight nobody. Triple G fought tomato can and mediocre fighter after mediocre fighter. His best wins is against David Lemieux, who you can make an argument was uh, a little bit above average fighter. But then again, he wasn't that good. And he had a life and death fight with Daniel Jacobs, and he lost 3 times to Canelo. I'm talking about he had a life and death fight with Daniel Jacobs that a lot of people thought that he lost that fight. I know people think that some people thought that he beat Canelo twice. I didn't. I thought Canelo clearly won both of those fights. And I'm not the biggest Canelo fan in the world, but I just got to keep it a buck. But looking at Triple G, how overrated he was, and he was protected. His fans protected him. The media protected him. I remember I used to get called out of my name. Dude, stop it. Wilder beat the brakes off you and everybody you down with just with that right hand. So stop it. Stop trolling. Get rid of this dude. He from Boston, so you know he a racist. He get rid of him. Get rid of Boston George. He's a racist. So, we know all white people from Boston is pretty much racist. So get rid of him. Matter of fact, I'll do it. Now, you're gone. So how's that? How's that? Anybody else? Anybody else? Who else want to get blocked? Who else want to get blocked? So like I said before, Wilder fought everybody that they put in front of him. Never ducked, no smoke, but we know Triple G did. Triple G flat out called out Andre Ward. Andre Ward wasn't checking for him. He called Andre Ward out, said he would move up to super middleweight and fight Andre Ward. As soon as Andre Ward tried to make a fight, his team turned it down in less than 5 minutes. And he got all these accolades for fighting basically nobodies. His resume ain't that much different than Deontay Wilder's. I can make an argument that is worse. I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. Here's the thing, though. Name one fighter that Wilder ducked and didn't try to fight. At the end of the day, he tried to fight everybody. Keep in mind, this is a dude that excelled, and exceeded expectations. This is Wilder, to me, wasn't even supposed to get as far as he got. But say what you want to say, a lot of people was afraid of that right hand. And to be honest with you, even though Deontay Wilder stood at 6'7", he was undersized. Deontay Wilder, most of the time, he was fighting dudes that weighed anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds more than he did. And for him to get as far as he did, For him to get as far as he did is it's amazing. And I'm giving Wilder his flowers. Whether we see him again or whether he try, I don't think he should do it. I know at the end of the day it's his call, but I'm just keeping it a buck. I was just talking to my correspondent, Miggs. I think Wilder, like I said, is a Hall of Famer. I think he'll get in the Hall of Fame. And we was also talking about the rematch between Usyk and Fury. I think this time Usyk gets the job done. I think he finishes. I think he finishes Fury this time. One thing about Usyk, he seems to perform better in rematches. I think this time, now that he knows he can knock Fury out, he's gonna knock Fury out. I got Usyk stopping. I got Usyk stopping Fury in the rematch in October. I think he's gonna stop him, and that's just the bottom. That's just the bottom line. I think he's gonna stop him. So there you have it. But let's just get back to Triple G. Like I said, I'm seeing all the attacks. I see all the attacks on Deontay. Well, and I expected that because, like I said, at the end of the day, it's always a celebration when a black fighter loses to a non-black fighter. It is what it is. Whether we want to play these games or not, truth is truth. I'm sorry if people hate that I tell the truth and I don't sit up there and sugarcoat stuff. Can't do it. Won't do it. At my age, I can't be sitting up front. Here's the thing. I was one of the very few people that saw Triple G for what he was. I was one of the very few people. When I would see this dude fight, I wouldn't be impressed. Now, you got people now all of a sudden jumping off the Triple G bandwagon, but it was, I think at the time, the only people that saw Triple G for being the fraud that he was me, Ticket TV, and John Boxing. Shout out to John Boxing. We was one of the very few people, and at the end of the day, we got called haters. We got called the N-word with the ER. I mean, people literally would call me the N-word over Triple G. And then people say boxing ain't about race. And I know Deontay at the time, used to criticize Triple G, and the same thing would happen. Because I just wasn't impressed. I knew that they carefully was choosing Triple G's opponents. Because if you look at Triple G, he ducked both of the Charlo brothers. He ducked Demetrius Andrade. He ducked quite a few people. You can make an argument that he lost that fight to Derbianchenko. I thought he lost that fight to Derbianchenko, so that's what I'm saying. His best wins is against Daniel Jacobs and David Lemieux. If you look at Triple G in high-profile fight, and that David Lemieux fight was not a high-profile fight. Triple G was a heavy favorite in that fight. You look at his high-profile fights, Daniel Jacobs was a high-profile fight, and it was a life-and-death fight. And his three so-called, or I'll say his first two high-profile fights with Canelo, it ended up in a draw, a controversial draw, and a loss. And then went on to lose a second time to Canelo. But people don't want to say he's a hype job. So I'm just dating back. Go look at my videos. I was never impressed with that dude. But when he pulled that stuff with Andre Ward, I was like, okay, yeah, he's a fraud. And that was before the word clout chasing was created. But he was clout chasing off. Open the line for what? Nah, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Um, I haven't. I'm gonna have to get a computer, or the computer I have right now. I don't have it set up where I can do that, but eventually I'll get to that. I'll get to that eventually where I'll let people, chime in. But I actually can do it. I actually can do it. You know what I'm saying? You just got to hit my email and I can bring you on. But, I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth. So I know that it makes people mad when you talk about Precious Triple G. I know it pisses people off and it gets under skin, and I love every minute of it. But see, the thing is, I can back it up. It isn't just talk. And I give Teddy Atlas credit too, because he was critical of Triple G too. He was critical of Triple G. Triple G to me was never a factual, actual pound for pound fighter. He was a HBO created hype job. The thing is, this is how you catch people and they BS. When Andre Ward was an active fighter, when Floyd Mayweather was an active fighter, what were they saying? Andre Ward is boring. Floyd Mayweather is boring. Nobody wants to see that running around, hugging. Andre Ward is a dirty fighter. He's boring. He doesn't excite me. We want knockouts. But Triple G got praised for knocking out all those Foot Locker workers, knocking out all those gas station attendants and people that work at 7-Eleven. He got all the praise in the world saying this is sensational. But then Wilder was giving the fans what they were asking for. He was giving people sensational knockouts, highlight reel knockouts, but then people say he didn't fight nobody. Oh, he was a hype job. He was a PBC created hype job. Because Triple G, where Deontay Wilder was looking for all the smoke and would have fought any and everybody, like I said before, give him his credit. Zang's team told me that they contacted them, Wilder's team, asking for a fight, and Wilder said, "We will fight. I just got to take care of some business with but I promise that I'll fight you." That was told to me by Zang's team themselves. And I can't wait to see him. Hopefully I get to talk to him again and bring this up. And once again, congratulations to Zang. He did his thing. No ill will towards him. He was the better man tonight. And that's it. That's all she wrote. But to sit up here and say Deontay Wilder is a hype job, was a hype job, and not say Triple G wasn't a hype job, that's not fair. And that's not right. And I'm going to call y'all out on that BS. If anybody think I'm joking, you can box Rex Triple G's resume. You can box Rex. You can box Rex Deontay Wilder's, resume. And it isn't really that much of a difference. I'm trying to figure out, you name one pound per pound fighter that Triple G beat. You name one top 10 pound per pound fighter that Triple G beat. And then when you would say, hey, why is Triple G fighting these two? Oh, they're the mandatory. They're the mandatory. They're the mandatory. Oh, we had to fight him. We had to fight him. We have to fight him. Well, okay. Okay. Well, if that's the case, if you had to fight him, well, how come the other people didn't have to fight they mandatory until they got good and ready? Because at the end of the day, you can give these dudes step aside money, or you can call the sanctioning body and say, hey, let us get this dude as a tune-up fight, and then we'll fight this dude. You can prolong the mandatory forever. David Benavidez has been the mandatory for Canelo for damn near 5 years. And has that fight happened? No. So that mandatory stuff is just straight cap. Y'all keep forgetting. Y'all keep forgetting. I cover boxing. Y'all keep forgetting that I'm a credentialed media member. I know my stuff. So this needed to be said. And I promise you, in the comment section, I'm gonna get called a hater. I'm gonna get called a hater, and you gonna get people trying to rationalize. Oh well, you can't really compare Triple G's resume to. You gonna hear every excuse in the book. From you can't compare heavyweights to middleweights, or well, the difference between Triple G and Wilder. The people they were the man. Listen, no, 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 no. Exactly. Wilder was trying to fight all those dudes. And at the end of the day, Al kept him on the shelf, kept him on the shelf, and you could say intentionally. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Triple G was, man, when I say he was calculated and his team was calculating and very particular of who Triple G fought, that's an understatement. You name one person that Triple G said, I want. That dude wouldn't call out Demetrius Andrade, and then he refused to give Daniel Jacobs a rematch. I'm just going to say this. Unfortunately, I'm going to just say this. The Klitschko brothers era, I think the problem with them is they didn't give you much. They were pedestrian as fighters. They didn't give you much. They didn't give you very much energy when you did interviews with them. Because you can make an argument that the Klitschko brothers were boring. They were good, but they were boring. But at the same time, you didn't get that from the fans. None of the fans never called the Klitschko brothers boring. And they wasn't going to do it because at the time you had two white Eastern European brothers that was dominating the heavyweight division. I think and they already had said that they wasn't going to fight each other. Yeah, I remember Laura too. He said he would go up to fight Triple G, and Triple G refused to fight him. They said that his style wouldn't excite fans and all that kind of stuff. So this is what I'm trying to tell you about Triple G. He was never that dude. He was a dude. See, it's a difference between being that dude where you kicking ass and taking names. He was a dude that was very particular and calculated and systematic with his team on who they chose as the next guy. I mean, some of these dudes, when you would find out who is Triple G's next opponent, you'd be like, who is this dude? Like, who is this dude? I never heard of this dude. Who the hell is this dude? You'll be like, who is this dude? At least for the most part. When it came to Wilder, for the most part, you knew who his opponents was. Keep in mind, I say this again. He was on his way. I'm talking about he was literally at the airport about to jump on a plane to go fight Alexander Povetkin. Remember that. And Alexander Povetkin popped dirty. And they pulled the plug on the fight. This is why I'm getting so irritated with Ryan Garcia and his team trying to change the rules. First, they unequivocally denied using any type of PEDs. Now all of a sudden, well, It's the supplements that we took that was contaminated. And by the way, the companies themselves, one of the companies already called BS with Ryan Garcia. So now the next distraction is this situation with his mother. And I'm gonna say this again. If you're gonna have empathy or you're gonna feel sorry for Ryan Garcia, well, once again, here's the thing though. Ryan Garcia saying that his mother could go any day now because she has cancer. Well, the same thing happened with Bill Haney's mother. Bill Haney buried his mother a few months ago. Bill Haney's mother was a Black Panther. Okay. So shout out to her. And I had the pleasure of meeting his mother. So where was the sympathy for Bill? He had to bury his mother. So excuse me if I'm not, excuse me if I'm not pulling out the handkerchiefs, you know what I'm saying, the paper towels, wiping the tears. At the end of the day, Ryan Garcia is a proven habitual liar and a con man. And some of these people can't take their L because every lie that Ryan Garcia came with got blew up. If it didn't get blew up by us, it got blew up by the actual people. Now, you didn't have two supplement companies expose Ryan Garcia on his lies. So he lied about the carbs being contaminated. The people issued a statement themselves saying that they test all their products before they go into production. But you got people still making foods that they sell, trying to protect Ryan Garcia. You go right ahead. Go on and kill your credibility. My credibility is intact because for the most part, I do the best research possible. So, Hey, what's up, Toby? Appreciate you, man. Shout out to Toby, one of my guys from the UK. Appreciate you, Toby, because I know it's very late out there. But I just want to say, you know what I'm saying, and I appreciate the love you show me from across the water. And I just want to say, like I said before, Wilder is a champ. He's a Hall of Famer. He should get in the Hall of Fame. He gave it all. I don't think he should fight anymore. I just don't think he should fight anymore. He has nothing to prove. At the end of the day, sometimes you have to retire from boxing before it retires you. I don't want to see Deontay Wilder take another beating like that. I'm going to be honest with you. He got caught with that short shot. And it didn't even seem like a hard shot, but it caused his nose to start bleeding. And then he turned his back and he got hit with that hook, that short hook, that right hook. He was down and he was hurt. And like I said before, I'm glad the referee stopped the fight. I didn't want to see Deontay Wilder get hurt. Yeah, yeah. I didn't want to see Wilder. I didn't want to see Wilder. It would have broke my heart if I would have seen Wilder getting slept. At the end of the day, it's hard to stomach. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, it ain't just brothers, sometimes that, I'm real tight with. Like Jose Ramirez, that's my dude. Jose Ramirez, that's my guy. But I'm getting worried about Jose Ramirez because I saw some stuff I didn't like in his last fight. Because Jose Ramirez made sure I got, you know what I'm saying? Jose Ramirez, shout out to Jose Ramirez. He made sure that I got credentialed. So appreciate Jose Ramirez. Shout out to Jose Ramirez. That's real talk. And like I said, Oscar Valdez, that's my man's. At the end of the day, I still got to call it how I see it. Oscar Valdez did. Unfortunately, he popped dirty. But then again, it appears to be a pattern with Eddie Reynoso fighters are fighters that formerly used to work with Eddie Reynoso. You got Oscar Valdez, of course. You got Canelo with his mystery super wet burritos. Then you got Lion Ryan Garcia. And it's a connection. It's not like I'm putting out false information. So I'm just saying it's not no allegedly because Ryan Garcia used to train with Eddie Reynoso. Oscar Valdez currently trains with Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, of course. So it's no, you know what I'm saying, defamation. It's fact. No allegedly. So I have to put that out there. You know, one thing about me, Tail Business calls it like how he sees it. And I called it like I saw it with Triple G. I just was never impressed with that guy. Never was impressed with him. I always thought the dude was a hype job. Yeah. I caught a lot of flack for it. I saw it early too. I saw it early. I was like, man, look at these dudes he's fighting. Why is this dude getting all this praise for fighting these type of dudes? Toby, Toby, I'm gonna keep it 100. We can forget about Wilder and AJ. That boat has long left the docks. That boat is long set sail. It ain't even no use to have that conversation no more. We 6 years removed from that. That fight should have happened 6 years ago. Five, you know what I'm saying? Five at the, you know what I'm saying? Worst case scenario. Too little, too late. It ain't even no use to talk about what could have been. That fight should have happened. I'm not strictly pointing the finger at Eddie Hearn because at the end of the day, Al Heyman played a role in this fight not happening because at the end of the day, he shouldn't have sent Charles Martin over there to give Anthony Joshua that third belt or the second to third belt. And then Anthony Joshua held all three of the belts hostage. They threw up every type of roadblock you could think of to keep that Wilder fight from happening. And then, like I said before, Al Heyman should have let Charles Martin fight Deontay Wilder. At least if Deontay Wilder beats Charles Martin, Deontay Wilder has 2 of the 4 major belts. And then you can do better as far as then it would make negotiating a little bit more easier. Now, Anthony Joshua would in all likelihood still would have been the A side because Anthony Joshua was able to get 90,000, 80,000 people in Wembley Stadium. But I think they could have negotiated a trilogy. But due to the fact that Anthony Joshua had 3 of the 4 belts, you basically had what happened with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford happened with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Where you had Errol Spence in the PBC, you know, doing what Matchroom was doing with Anthony Joshua, holding the belts hostage, prolonging a great fight. Anthony Joshua in a Deontay Wilder trilogy would have been epic. It would have. I'm talking about it would have did major numbers. Yeah, see, that's the difference between me, Toby. I'm not no Al Heyman apologist. I've been seen through the bullshit that Al Heyman likes to pull. Al Heyman was known for holding belts hostage, just like what happened with Eddie Hearn. I'm not going to sit up here and give Al Heyman a pass because, like I said before, he could have easily put Deontay Wilder in the ring with Charles Martin. That was an easier fight to make, but he trusted the word of Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn burnt him. and then had the audacity to get mad at Deontay Wilder when Deontay Wilder secretly met with Eddie Hearn. Now I'm gonna have to give people some clarity when people say that Wilder ducked Anthony Joshua when basically he met with Eddie Hearn along with Lou DiBella. Lou DiBella, you know what I'm saying? He basically he fell out of favor with Al Heyman because he tried to take Deontay Wilder to Eddie Hearn to basically try to negotiate a fight with Anthony Joshua. Now they offered Deontay Wilder a 3-fight deal, which would have paid him a large amount of money. But the problem was Anthony Joshua was not included in the package. So that's why Wilder turned it down, and there's been a lot of misinformation. If Anthony Joshua would have been included in the package, who knows what would have happened. But then again, based off how his contract was structured with the PBC, it probably wouldn't have happened, or Al Heyman would have tried to interfere or talk Deontay Wilder out of it. So I'm just putting out facts. So it's enough blame to go around. I'm not strictly putting this on Eddie Hearn. Like I said, Al Heyman played a big role in Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua not happening. Then not to mention there's some other things with Deontay Wilder. Keep in mind, Deontay Wilder said he would like to get his money on time. You know, there's been issues with people getting paid on time. But, you know, Canelo was getting all his money. So, you know. So, I don't know how much Deontay Wilder made for this fight. I hope that it was a decent amount of money, which I think it was. But Wilder is not hurting for money. He's not hurting for money. He'll be fine. Wilder takes care of his money. He probably invests his money. His home is still Alabama. That's where he primarily spends his time at. He has houses everywhere, but his main house is in Alabama. Yeah, I have to agree with that. But you only can protect your oath for so long. And I think what happened was this is what I mean why sometimes a lot of people have an end for Floyd, because Floyd, he holds on to that undefeated record for dear life. But to be honest with you, Floyd technically doesn't have any record, because technically Julio Cesar Chavez went like X amount of fights without losing. I think he had like 70 something fights before he actually lost. But the problem is Julio Cesar Chavez literally fought morticians and cab drivers and florists and warehouse workers. He didn't fight anybody of significance. And then Ricardo Lopez, I think, finished 50-0-1, if I'm not mistaken. So he retired undefeated. So technically Floyd didn't break no record. So I'm just keeping it a buck. And it has to be said, it's kind of fraudulent that Floyd tries to make it look like he has some record, because he doesn't. He doesn't have a record. He doesn't have no record for the most wins without a loss. And you can make an argument that the Conor McGregor fight should have an asterisk, or it shouldn't count as his 50th fight, because keep in mind, Conor McGregor had no experience as a professional boxer. He was a MMA fighter. Facts. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I feel like Floyd played a pivotal role in where boxing is. He got these fighters to act and conduct themselves in a way that's not very becoming. At the end of the day, Floyd is a hypocrite. Floyd is the one that posts videos about how he spent 100,000 at Gucci and all that kind of stuff. Which, like I said, I don't know why Floyd. Floyd is the person that I'm talking about that he just don't get it. Floyd ain't who he was like 20 years ago. Floyd is 47 years old. At the end of the day, you have to break out of that. Floyd, one of them dudes, he feel like he think he's gonna be young forever, and that's just not the case. Floyd has to realize he's in his late 40s now. We all have to wake up and realize that I'm 49 years old. I can't, as far as, you know what I'm saying, I can't compete with somebody that's 28, 29. My son is 25. So what it look like me competing with my son? I had my time. It's my son's time. And that's the problem with Floyd Mayweather. He don't let go. He won't let go. I think Floyd, all he has is boxing, even though he tried to pretend he just doing so many things. Now, Floyd is 47. Floyd is 47. He'll be 48, I think, February the 24th or something like that. So he's in his late 40s. And like I said, that's its problem. He feels like he can compete with these other dudes, and his time has came. You can still be active, you can still do things, but at the end of the day, you are not a competitive fighter anymore. You supposed to be an elder statesman, and the problem is Floyd has nothing but boxing. Because you have to ask yourself, what could Floyd do outside of boxing, really? He talked like he make all these smart investments, but he's been setting a bad example. You supposed to be making all this money in investments and all that stuff. Well, show everybody the way. Show everybody what you're doing. But this is a dude that likes to put up pictures of and post stuff of him gambling $25,000 and all that kind of stuff. Bad example. And then he criticizes the younger generation for doing exactly what he does. He'll say all these fighters care about is Gucci and driving luxury cars and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's the example you set. A lot of these dudes look up and pattern themselves after you, which I don't know why. I would never pattern myself after Floyd Mayweather. Like I said before, I won't ever respect Floyd Mayweather ever again, because when Floyd Mayweather made that comment that the black community didn't help him get where he was, and that Mexicans were the ones that were going to his fights, buying his pay-per-views and buying his merchandise. Okay, cool. Like I said before, Floyd, if the black community didn't support you, then I'll tell you what. Anybody that got receipts from when they bought a Floyd Mayweather pay-per-view and you happen to be black, call your local cable provider and ask for a refund. Or sue Floyd, or file a lawsuit against Floyd for defamation of character or racial discrimination. I mean, why not? You can sue Floyd for racial discrimination against black people. Hell, you got a white man suing Al Roker for racial discrimination against blacks. Make that make sense. Al Roker got cartoons, but he got white writers. And he refuses to use black writers. And he got sued by a white guy claiming racism against black people. So basically, a white guy can sue a black dude for being a coon. Make that make sense. Go figure. So maybe that's what we should do with Floyd. Maybe the black community should sue Floyd for defamation of character and racial discrimination. Yeah. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. there you have it. But anyway, appreciate you guys being here. Gotta get ready to go to the gym. It's your boy Tim. I'm out.